Hi, this is Ushio. Welcome back to Echo. We have just walked out of Flynn's club. And yeah, spoilers, he's a bit of a swinger. Okay, we are out. It is Friday. We're going to move on from that situation and try and process what happened. I bring the tripod back over my shoulder, wincing some as the metal pushes against my collarbone. There wasn't really much left of the old post office, but getting some B-roll of it seemed obligatory, with the Pony Express history here and such. As long as I have lots of filler footage to accompany my voiceover, I should be fine. I think it'll probably look a lot better than most of what the rest of the class will present, though that's not a very high bar to surpass. Most probably wouldn't dare work over their spring break. So why the hell am I? I close my eyes, letting my legs lead the way as I step through the tall grass and back onto the dirt road. Okay, so we've done a bit more of our homework, very diligent, actually made it through the week. It's hot today, way hotter than it usually is in late spring. Everything's kinda hazy too, like there's wildfire air blowing downwind through Echo. Those usually drive my allergies nuts, but so far I'm not feeling too stuffed up or itchy. As screwed up as it sounds, I always kinda liked when there was a big fire in the state. I mean, sure, it sucks, sneezing all the time and having my nose feel scratchy, but I love the burning smell. It reminds me of barbecues. It doesn't smell like that now, though it does remind me. I pull out my phone. It's 3 minutes past 10. Jenna texted earlier. Oh, Chase, Leo wants to set up his grill at the hill behind your house, around early afternoon, I think. If you want to stop by, you can. When we were kids, sometimes my dad would let us roll our little charcoal grill up there and try cooking ourselves. My dad always said it was to keep a wide buffer between us and the house, so we didn't accidentally burn the place down. After Flynn set a bush on fire in our backyard during Labour Day, I kinda understood the sentiment. I exhale, shoving my phone back into my pocket. Oh, Leo, he's a bit of a creeper dude. Interesting, Leo decided to schedule it while Flynn's still working. I bring my thumb and forefinger above my muzzle and press at the space between my eyes. I sniff, smelling the faint smell of musty ash that seems to cling to my fur even after the shower I took this morning. And just like that, my blood seems to cool. I get that weird stuttering feeling you have in your heart when you remember something you don't want to. Last night doesn't seem real. I can't believe shit like that exists, just past where I grew up. How long has that place been around? Doesn't even have a name? I searched the address some more when I got home, but didn't find anything online. I mean, I've been in gay bars before up in Peyton, usually because some girl I'm friends with drags me there. But nothing quite like that. At least Daxton seemed to not hate it completely by the time we left. Turns out the middle-aged horse guy was an old dastry, the term for people who really like a dastra. Daxton and him hit it off pretty well while I was, away, with Flynn. Cole, meanwhile, was already passed out in my car by the time we got back. It was an awkward car ride home. A strange sense of sad nostalgia takes hold of me as I approach the faded white old brick structure that was my home. The white picket fence that surrounded the exterior is all but gone now. The few remaining posts are scattered all over the yard, some half buried in the loose barren topsoil. I remember Dad always made me paint it every summer, and I pitch a huge fit because I hated it. Working in 110-degree temperatures, with scratchy bramble getting stuck on my pads, not to mention the dirt on the paintbrush. Dad never was happy with how it turned out anyway. He'd yell at me for laziness and doing a poor job. He claimed I had no aptitude for work, first placing blame on me playing too many video games, and then Leo. People are supposed to have a sense of satisfaction in their work, but every moment away from an escapist diversion seemed to make me miserable. I'd coop myself up in my room with a big-ass plug-in fan, watching TV, daydreaming about fictional guys and eating just an absurd amount of cereal. I sigh as I walk over an old plot where Mum's garden used to be. According to City Hall, this place is abandoned and condemned now. I step up to the window of my old bedroom, squinting through the dusty glass and spying the familiar turquoise shag carpet inside. All the furniture's gone, and spiderwebs hang from every corner. There's some graffiti on the wall as well, a gang sign or something that looks like a crooked red number 8. Seeing it, I'm left with a feeling of unease, like the sanctity of what was once mine had been taken away. I don't exactly pine for the days of being stuck in there, but there's this overwhelming pang of awareness that those times are past and are never coming back. The worries I had growing up are gone, and replaced by these visceral, very adult concerns about money, jobs, and debt. And I'll never have a group of friends like I did back then. A sharp whistle breaks my train of thought. I spin around and see the silhouette of two figures up on the hill overlooking the house. It's Leo and Jenna. After a moment, TJ walks up next to them and waves. "Hey, Chase!" I lift my paw up, offering a limp wave in return. Next thing I know, TJ is making his way down the slope, Leo right behind him. Jenna follows shortly after. "Chase, it's good to see you again." The lynx looks tired, all things considered, the tips of his fur tinged with the orangish dirt of the area. Still he's beaming at me regardless. "It's good to see you too, actually." TJ cocks his head. "Actually?" I blink. "Yeah, what do you mean by that, Otter?" Leo had a stern voice, his eyes hard upon me. "I mean, you know what I mean." A smirk appears at the edge of the wolf's muzzle as he steps up to me, slugging my shoulder with enough force to sting a bit. "Well, astonishingly, it's good to see you swell." I wince a bit from the blow. Leo reaches over and ruffles my head fur. "Sorry." He grins, a little awkwardly. He seems cheery overall. It's hard to believe he's the same Leo that just yesterday I was hiding in a bathroom cupboard from. I try not to look too tense. "Next time, hit him harder." Jenna gives me an edged look, though there's warmth in her eyes. "Jenna." She looks me over and then glances toward the road. "I'm surprised you didn't drive." We found a picnic table in one of the yards of the abandoned houses. We set up over there." He points to the base of the hill slope, where sure enough an old wooden picnic table sits. "And TJ was okay with this?" The lynx frowns, digging his toes into the dirt. "Well, as long as we put it back when we're done." "You're becoming quite the rebel, TJ." I manage a smile at him. He looks slightly aghast, though Leo chuckles. "We should put the hot dogs on the grill now. The bacon won't take as long." Jenna turns, making her way over to the table. Beside it is a green portable propane grill, like the sort you use for camping trips. On top of the grill are a couple of Ziploc bags. "We're going to grill up these fancy pepperjack hot dogs we got in Peyton, and some applewood smoked bacon." "Nice, sounds good." "We even got some tofu dogs for Cole, just like old times, yeah?" I hope we gotten better at cooking since then, but where is Cole? Leo shrugs, TJ chiming in. "Maybe he slept in. It is kind of early. For him, I mean." We make our way over toward Jenna. Leo's tail wags slightly as he walks. I set my gear down and peer at the table. The thing's dirty as hell, probably over a decade of dust and weather etched into the wood and metal. I can't remember what neighbour this belonged to. Over the years, there were so many. Usually hippies or retirees seeking to get away from the hustle and bustle of urban or even suburban living. Most became rather disillusioned with the idea of Echo being some lovely desert escape after about a month of living here though. I glance up at Leo and he's looking back at me. He's taking the hot dogs out of the packaging and getting them set up on the grill. The wolf doesn't say anything, neither do I. He keeps making the same faintly awkward smile whenever I look at him too long. TJ and Jenna have sat down at the table and they're digging through a weathered backpack. Jenna takes out some paper plates, setting out a small stack and weighing them down with a rock so they don't blow away. That seems kind of unhygienic. "Don't worry, we're not going to eat off that one." She looks up and over at me. "We'll just give it to Chase." Damn, TJ frowns and shakes his head. I sigh, furrowing my brow some. "Look, I'm sorry I haven't been around much this whole trip. I kinda regret it too." "Really?" The fennec responds with a tone of feigned surprise, though when we lock eyes, she seems to waver some. She crosses her arms over her tank-top chest, looking down and back up again. "It's okay. It's been an interesting few days for us." I raise a brow inquisitively. "Yeah, same here." Jenna smiles some in an apologetic fashion, and I move to sit next to her. TJ reaches into the bag and holds up a few bottles of condiments to me. "We got a jalapeno ketchup, relish, spicy mustard, and a baggie of chopped onions." "Sounds delicious." "Yeah, I know. It's a spice overload, but it was to appease Leo's iron palate." Hearing his name, Leo waves at us. "You know, I read an article once that people who like spicy foods have masochistic tendencies." Jenna rolls her eyes, glancing to Leo and then back to me. "Only you could confirm that in Leo's case. As for the article, yeah, I've heard it before. It's pop psychology and based off survey statistics." "What about me?" One of Leo's ears flicks to a point in our direction. Chase was just telling us about your masochistic tendencies. Leo stops what he's doing, looking at us with slightly widened eyes. My what? Oh god. I cover my face with my paw. Man, I wouldn't say I'm into that. You shouldn't be talking about other people behind their backs, Chula. He says this teasingly, stretching out some aluminium foil on the grill and placing the strips of bacon on it. Someone should have told you that earlier. You've been talking about Chase non-stop this week. Leo stiffens some and tries to laugh it off. What? I'm worried about him, I mean. He looks to me. With Flynn being all unstable and shit. TJ flinches at the swearing. I'm surprised the Lynx was unperturbed during the masochism talk. Maybe he just doesn't know what it is. I rub my arms apprehensively, peering at Jenna. What sort of stuff has he been saying about me? Jenna looks in that wry way she does when she finds herself in a position of advantage over Leo. Leo looks at her anxious. Nothing bad, I bet my neck. Maybe it's best if you two find some time to talk alone today. The Fennec looks at Leo as if having delivered an act of supreme mercy. Leo in turn looks grateful, keenly aware he has become indebted by the act. Right. We're planning on that anyway, I think? Jenna just nods. Good. Okay, you all need to stop distracting the cook here. Chase, can you... Past the sizzling of the grill, the clop of hooves on dirt becomes audible. TJ cranes his neck some to peer past Leo and then smiles. Hey, it's Cole. And, oh, hi. Yo. Hey. Cole immediately plops himself down at the table across from me, the ram rubbing his eyes with his fists. Daxton, meanwhile, lingers at the end. His eyes are on me, as if waiting for something. Oh, hey Daxton. I didn't know you were coming. Carl invited me. I wasn't really doing much else today. I put on a smile, but seeing the two just sort of reminds me all of last night. Good to meet you. I'm Jenna. Jenna offers a quick nod. Meanwhile, TJ seems to bolt up, offering a paw to the tall salamander. Hey, I'm TJ. It's good to meet a friend of Cole's. Daxton looks a little surprised, shaking TJ's paw before looking back at me. He still has that same expectant expression on his face. Daxton? Flynn's roommate, right? Leo strolls up beside him, spatula in grasp. Said roommate, yeah. Wait, you look familiar. Leo squints. Are you the Vespa guy? Daxton looks back toward the road. Yeah, I drive a Vespa. Why? Leo lets out a humid noise, rubbing his brow with his free paw as he grins. You came to my dad's shop about an oil leak in that thing. Daxton blinks in realization. Oh, Havari's Auto up in Peyton. Yeah, I went there. That thing was a damn nightmare. At first I thought you were just using the wrong type of oil, since that's the most common reason. People don't know they gotta use motorcycle oil, which lathers transmission, gears, valves and all that, plus it's less thick. But the thing was still leaking. So next I drained the overflow tube in the airbox and troubleshooted. It took me about 2 hours until I figured out that it had to do with the piston rings being worn out. Problem is, your little ride's a damn special overseas import, yeah? There's no place that has the replacement parts you needed for that for at least 7,000 miles. I inherited it from my uncle in the old country. I guess that's why it took so long. Yeah, I can't say I'd ever worked on a machine like that prior to you, so thanks for the experience. Like I was saying, my dad owns the place. I'm Leo Alvarez. Leo extends out a paw, though with less gusto than TJ. Leo. I see Daxton's gaze flick to me, his lips pulling a bit tighter on his smooth face. He takes the paw, shaking it, and Leo perks a brow. Judging by the look on your face, you heard of me? Nah, wee bit. All good, I hope, you know? Leo smiles lopsidedly. Not really, but whatever. Oh my god. The response elicits a collective irk from most of us. The salamander withdraws his hand, and Leo looks a little gobsmacked. You're a mate's Flynn, so I guess that's to be expected. Daxton shrugs, and then moves to sit at the table next to me. Wow, Daxton don't give no shits. Chase, if you got a minute, can we talk later? Sure. The salamander looks grateful, but doesn't elaborate further. Leo, meanwhile, stands there rotating the spatula in his paw, with his eyes on the dirt. This is awkward. Alright, after a moment he turns, heading back to the grill, with an expression on his face that I can't quite make out. Jenna props her chin up with her paw, smiling faintly at Daxton. Wow. What? Nothing, I'm just musing out loud. Where you from, Daxton? The salamander rests his hands on the table, rubbing his thumbs together. I've been living here in Echo for a year or two. Before that, I was in Colville, where I grew up. Eh. Jenna stopped smiling. Colville? Really? What? What's wrong with Colville? Everything, dude. Colville? Isn't that the place with the lampposts that have the little cowboy hats on top of them? Oh yeah, they have the cobblestone streets there. I went for a field trip once. That place is too rich, even for me. They put up those creepy, smiling native mannequins on the sidewalks as decorations, like it isn't grossly offensive, noting its history. Oh yeah, they shot that one big western film there. The one with Jack Gillyhue searching for some family's daughter that got abducted by the Meseta. The town's sort of rode off the fame of that movie for the past 40 years, from what it seems like. Daxton looks at all of us, crossing his arms tightly over his chest. It hasn't been doing as well as it used to. Westerns aren't exactly as big as they used to be. It's kind of a shame, that. It's not really a surprise noting how tasteless most of them were. Cole shifts in his seat a bit awkwardly. TJ speaks up. Speaking of Old West stuff, how goes the project, Chase? Leo said you couldn't hang out with us because you were working on it. Jenna reaches into the backpack and pulls out a notebook, laying it out in front of her. We were bored at the motel, so we did some research ourselves. If you want to discuss your findings, that is. I feel a little bit put on the spot, mainly since most of what I've done has been shooting B-roll. Apparently my house used to be a castle. A castle? Yeah, I looked up Carl's house at City Hall. The record showed a big medieval looking place. There was some kind of collapse in 1915. Living in a castle would be pretty cool though. Not that I need more space, but you get what I mean. House Hendricks, The Lords of Echo. I'd watch that show. It'd probably have too much sex and violence for you, man. I truly doubt there would be much of the former with you in it. Damn, Cole lets out a little snicker before drifting his gaze to the sizzling grill nearby. Even Daxton seems to smirk a bit, if you say so. TJ seems to flinch at the lewd talk, and Jenna quickly shifts her tone. Continue, Chase. Well, that's the thing. Cole's ancestors founded the town, but I think Flynn's family are the ones who mainly controlled it during the 20th century. There's tons of more names in the records for the leadership positions. We were too busy making ice cream, I guess. Speaking of, I'm starving. How much longer, man? He calls out to Leo, the wolf looking over his shoulder. Unless you want your hot dogs medium rare, just a bit longer, Kay? Jenna waves off the boy's banter, speaking to me again. That's strange, noting Flynn's species. Reptilians weren't readily trusted by majority society in this country until relatively recently. I shrug. I'm not sure whether it's relevant to what I'm trying to cover though. I mean, I haven't been able to find anything about the initial 1877 hysteria incident. It's like all those files are just gone. I pause, chewing my lower lip as I remember something. There were some legal documents I found, concerning the mine. I don't know, but go on. There was a mention of some sort of messed up murder happening in the mine in 1915 that somehow resulted in a riot. No mention was made of the 1877 hysteria event though. Jenna pulls her notes up, her eyes bouncing left and right as she speed reads. That's interesting. You mentioned that year earlier, 1915. The census recordings show that there was a large drop of population between 1910 and 20. I couldn't find any economic justification for it, since the mine continued to operate and the railroad line still serviced Echo. Daxton holds up his hand. So, sorry, I'm trying to catch up to what you guys are trying to figure out here. Are you saying that these mine murders caused Echo to lose all its people? The correlations do not imply causation, but this is for a journalism piece, not an academic paper. Being interesting is more important than being thorough, at least it is these days. Your piece should be called Top 10 Reasons Echo Depopulated from Evil Mine Murder. You wouldn't believe reason number 2. Like throw some boobs up onto the thumbnail image and post it onto the Pueblo website. I frown. I'm used to hearing how the internet age has made modern journalism some sort of joke now, but it still stings. This isn't for the website or anything, it's just a class project. Then it matters even less, dude. You're not even getting paid. Hell, you're paying them thousands. They should give you some slack. I need to build up my portfolio, because right now, all it has is a fluff piece about the Pueblo GSA's Pride concert. You've still got a few more days, Chase. It isn't like you can't do your project and hang out with us at the same time. Daxton looks a tad hangdog, speaking up from beside me. I hope I'm not imposing on yours reunion time. I'll see what I can do, and you're fine, Daxton. The thought strikes me that tomorrow's the day Flynn plans to question TJ. I don't think anyone will be in much of a hanging out mood after that. Maybe I should warn him. After yesterday, I don't know if I should give a damn what Flynn wants. But maybe that's too harsh. Maybe I just don't want to think about him right now. I hear the sound of heavy steps on the soil, and the wafting smell of cooked meat fills my nose. Glancing up, Leo's standing over me. He holds out a pair of tongs with a plate of bacon and hot dogs. Buns and booze are on the cooler. As if rehearsed, Jenna picks up a small plastic cooler from beside the table. She rips open the packaging and distributes the buns accordingly. Is it just alcohol in there? TJ sounds disappointed. I got you some juice pouches, Tej, don't you worry. Yay, thanks. He smiles appreciatively. Daxton seems to peer curiously at the links before taking a hot dog for himself. Leo looks a bit reluctant toward Daxton. You guys, eat meat? Daxton's already absolutely covering his hot dog with ketchup. By you guys, you mean salamanders? Leo nods. I finally get a bun and begin to assemble my hot dog, wrapping it in bacon. Yeah, we eat meat. My grandpa used to say you should never trust somebody who doesn't. Cole looks up. Except for Cole, he's cool and trustworthy as all hell. The ram tries to force the tofu dog into its maw to hide the big smile forming on his muzzle. Jenna looks at them curiously, waiting for TJ to finish placing relish on his cut-up bunless hot dog. Cole swallows, speaking up finally. I guess, your grandpa was at least half-wise, dude, man. Daxton shakes his head. Nah, not really. He was a Mesa speciesist and hated Jews. Oh my god. TJ chokes on his juice a little, and Jenna pats his back a few times. Wow, whose grandpas didn't? I mean, TJ stares at them furrow-browed and wide-eyed. Mine? Boys. Jenna gives us a look, speaking in that same old maternal tone she's been using since she was 10. I merely shake my head. Leo comes around and sits at the remaining spot at the end of the table. Chase. I look up, quickly finishing my bite of bacon. That's my name. I was going to ask you earlier. I got my speaker set hooked up to my playlist on my phone. Picks out some music, will ya? He gestures to a pill pod looking thing with his phone sticking out of it near the grill. Any guidelines? Stay out of the sample music folder? He smirks. What a callback. I rise up to my feet and head over to the speaker. I pick it up and squint at the phone screen, the overhead sun casting quite a glare. I see a few playlists on here. Which one should I pick? Okay, hip hop and chill mix, Cruising Angels rock EP, Pop Summer Jams club and the beach playlist. Let's go for the hip hop and chill. Do we want this? Huh, kinda groovy. Oh, this is the shit. Chase must have picked the dead list labelled seduction. How do you dance to this kind of music? TJ just kinda looks perplexed. However you want to, man. Daxton makes his way over to me, handing me a spare hard lemonade. I give Daxton a grateful nod, hitting the bottle top against the edge of the grill to get the cap off. Unfortunately, the top just shatters, spraying shattered glass on the ground. Christ! Daxton just laughs, taking a swig of his own drink. Well, I suppose with that little gesture, it's dancing time. Jenna stands up as well. I'm not sure if this is her type of music, but she begins swaying to the beat regardless. Aren't you supposed to do that for a new boat? I'm still eating my hot dogs here. Next thing I know, Leo's up as well, popping his shoulders up and rolling his arms. Leo used to be great at dancing, but that was when he was 4 inches shorter and 40 pounds thinner. He's kind of giving me a dad at a cookout vibe, which in turn is starting to give me a mild midlife crisis by proxy. Despite his questioning of the music choice, TJ soon joins them and balances things out, the links doing some basic shuffles. I look down at my feet. Fuck it. I'm not alright, natural entertainer. Okay, dance with Leo, TJ and Jenna, Cole and Daxton. Okay. The whole Leo thing is awkward. Fuck it. I'm not sure if it's exactly safe to drink out of a bottle with a broken top, but I might as well try. The cuts in my throat are going to make the alcohol work quicker, right? After avoiding Leo for the past day, it might be best to not ignore him right now. I'm still wary as hell about the way Leo's been acting, and embarrassed over my own behaviour. But he's still Leo, and he's the closest I've gotten to another person. Plus, somebody needs to stop him from doing that lawnmower move for the 8th time in a row. He spots me walking toward him and his whole face seems to light up. Otter! Leo, dance with me? I smile lopsidedly. Somebody has to. I can feel the other's eyes upon me as Leo and I move a little closer together. I keep things simple, doing some basic two-steps with a rolling of my waist, no gimmick moves. Alright, Leo begins to catch on and does the same. We've done this before after all. Leo dragged me to every prom, junior prom and homecoming dance there was, haters be damned. I wasn't much for those sorts of things, but he was the varsity football guy, so by unwritten high school law, he was expected to go to these things. Are we still good to talk later? Yeah, I thought we could do it now. You know, it wouldn't get too weird in like a public space. Sounds good, fine. Leo's gaze drifts past me toward the table. He's quiet for a moment, simply moving to the rhythm. Hey, do you remember when we, It takes me a moment, but my eyes widen and I feel my neck begin to burn. Oh god. Hey, you were the one who insisted putting ketchup on it. Should have put that jalapeno ketchup on it. Leo smiles cheekily. Wouldn't bother me. I'm the spicy Latino, remember? He rumbles some. The look on your face when I could barely fit it in the bun. Now my cheeks are absolutely burning. Man, jerk. Whose idea was it again? My crotch smelled like a concession stand for a week. It's not my fault you don't know how to properly wash. Hey, says Mr. Muskie himself. I let out a large puff of air. It feels just like when we were a couple. And that's the scary part. My mind reels back to Kalia's confrontations with Flynn the past few days and his violent behaviour. I take a step back, clearing my throat. Let's just dance, okay? I hear. We continue on, and it feels like just an hour passes. That's a lot of dancing, I'll be tired. I peel a bit of wallpaper off above the mantel with my thumb. Without all the furniture, the place looks much older than it actually is. I managed to get in by unlocking the front door with one of my credit cards. The deadbolt never worked, and I guess my parents didn't fix it after I left town. Everything kinda smells faintly familiar. Just dustier, and without my mum's burning cinnamon incense that seemed to be a constant feature of my childhood. I rest my forearms against the windowsill and let my eyes lull a bit. Otter! Leo smacks his paw on either side of the window, looking up at me from the outside with a pleased expression on his muzzle. Jesus, man! I blink. Why are you shirtless? Leo pulls back some, crossing his arms over his chest. He rolls his shoulders, a sort of indirect shrug. I was getting hot, especially with all that moving around and grilling. I give him a dubious look. Yeah, you're a hot dog, alright. The red wolf responds with a delighted smile. I harumph, trying to change gears a bit. You're not, like, self-conscious or anything? I mean, it isn't like the height of football season for you anymore. I flick my gaze towards his stomach. Leo's demeanour cools, though he keeps smiling as if he's trying not to let that one set in too much. He points up toward my chin. Do you dye that? What? My goatee? Is that what you call it? Yeah. He lets out a little humoured grunt. What? Seems like a lot of work for that little scruff of hair, yeah? I frown, pushing back away from the window. Leo seems to stiffen some. Hey, I'm just kidding. You look, you look very good. See you dancing and all that. Kinda takes me back. But you're different. He pushes his tongue against the roof of his mouth, Leo's eyes darting from side to side as he tries to find the right words. I haven't seen him like this since we were younger. I wonder if his English has been getting worse without us around. His family really only speaks the native tongue at home, and I imagine it's the same at the shop he works at. Thanks. I'm honestly not sure how to respond to it. What am I doing that's so different? I can't explain it. You just like you used to be, but less. I feel a sinking sensation within my chest. Leo suddenly snaps his fingers. Mellowed out, that's it. Listen, Leo, you said you wanted to talk, right? Because if your big point is that I'm not a complete idiot anymore, I'm already aware. Leo furrows his white-ridged brow. You never were an idiot, and I was getting to that. Chase? I spin around and see the familiar salamander standing anxiously behind me. Oh, hi. Hola, scooter guy. Leo leans past me and waves. Hey, you got time to talk? Oh, decision. I mean, this is Flynn's route, and what Dax is going to talk to us about is more relevant to the route, but we're literally talking to Leo first. I'll come back to you if I can, please. Understood. I suppose I'll head off then. If I don't see you again, it was good meeting you, Chase. I feel a swell of guilt build in my chest. Oh, you're leaving so soon? Yeah, I gotta take Carl home. I've been watching him out back, and he's just been sitting by himself, not talking to anyone. I can relate. I frown, but nod in understanding. I hear you. It was good meeting you too, Lieutenant Daxton. I manage to smile, and he does as well, fortunately. I'm not going to say I'm beaming out, but I'm just going to walk away now. Oh, of course. See ya. The salamander waves at the both of us, backstepping his way to the front door. Let me come around then, yeah? It feels wrong to have to be looking up at you. Like the natural order of the universe is messed up. If you say so, be my guest. I feel bad. I feel bad. Leo quickly pushes himself away from the window, darting off around the house. Here we go. Leo steps into what was my old living room, his eyes on his phone. I raise an eyebrow toward him. Something up? Pops wants me in the shop in Paynton an hour from now, even though it's my day off. The hell? I guess labour laws don't apply when it's family. Yeah, fuck it. You know me. I'd choose spending time with you if it meant getting chewed out by the parentals any day. He shoves his phone into his pocket, smiling down at me all the while. He does enjoy that high difference, doesn't he? Something in the back of my mind seems to whisper not as tall as Flynn, though I quickly shove that thought aside. Leo peers around, touching the faded green wood panelling that surrounds the room. I remember the first time I was in here, back during Halloween of 2000, and your mum invited me over. I didn't speak a bit of English, and you didn't have no damn costume, but your parents thought we were friends, so I got ushered in here. Your mum cut me up one of your old bed sheets and made this ghost-looking outfit. Oh jeez, I remember that. I threw a little tantrum because I apparently liked those sheets. Leo crosses his arms, grinning as he stares at the spot in the corner of the room. My Hispanic ass didn't know what the hell you guys were doing to me. I start snickering some. I thought it was a ritual or something to steal my soul, I don't know. That was right about the time I was learning about the devil and shit. It was just bad juju to me, all of it. He makes a little motion of crossing himself. Leo's a complete atheist nowadays, but he still has that whole cultural Catholicism ingrained in him. Oh my god, I'll need to find some pictures of us from back then sometime. I had the biggest buck teeth, and I wanted to be a rabbit. I was too young to understand the speciesist implications of that idea. Leo chuckles heartily, kicking an errant piece of wood out of the way. What did you end up being? I forget. I think I was a knight? Or a wizard. That might have been 2001. Ah man, 2001. Everyone around was a soldier or commando that year because of the whole terrorist stuff. And I dressed up as a pizza. Leo laughs, wagging his finger at me and nodding. A pizza, yeah. That was the best costume. I could barely move. You kept falling over. I didn't fall over, Tudor. I kept getting pushed over by, Leo's cheery demeanour sombers some, and he exhales. I remember who kept pushing him over well. We're quiet for a time, Leo wiping some dust off the bottoms of his feet. It was Sydney, wasn't it? Okay, I'd, offer you a seat in this place, if it still had furniture. He waves dismissively at the offer before beginning to wring his paws together. It was always really obvious when Leo was tense or nervous growing up. His shoulders would be raised up high, and his tail had a slight curl to it. Right now, he looks just like that. Leo? Leo opens his mouth, as if to say something, but doesn't. Instead, he just turns, looking back toward the corner. Leo, everything okay? What happened to you, Chase? The question takes me off guard. I was expecting the worst, but the general nature of it has me confused. What? He turns, looking over his shoulder. Why are you doing this? Did I do something? Serious like, Otter. Tell me now, please. I don't understand. You haven't done anything wrong. Besides bust into Flynn's place and assault him, of course. I'll keep that to myself for now. I know what you're doing, and you know I know what you're doing. I'm not dumb, you know. I know I'm not. Everything that we've had problems with in the past was because of miscommunication shit. Nothing I say is as smart as Jenna and TJ, or funny as Carl and Flynn. I gotta translate everything in my head, so it's just a bit slower. Talking to me is hard, yeah? I get it. Just fucking try for me, please. Honest like, too. He looks at me, his chest rising and falling with some quickened pace. I slowly step to the side, resting my back against the wall and sliding down to a sitting position. I sit crisscrossed and stare at the gap between my legs. You're not hard to talk with. I am. Chase, just say it. Without thinking, I do. I had sex with Flynn. We're not on the best of terms right now, Leo. I hear Leo take a step forward and then stop. Okay. He takes a deep breath. So have I, yeah? That's not the end of the world. What? Despite everything and despite my actions, it sort of feels like I was just hit in the gut. Wow, Leo slept with him as well. When? After you left for college? I swear on my neck. I let out a big breath of air, feeling like a hypocrite. A silence falls between us. It feels like Leo is practically leering over me, but I can't muster the courage to look up. Have you had others? Yeah, but nothing ever felt the same as, I'm not like Flynn. I can't go to that place outside of town and just let loose. I tried that, and it felt so wrong and fucked up. It's not the same. What's the point in doing that shit if it's not with your love, And I'm not talking about the whole cultural, religious mierda where you gotta marry and all that. Because I know how Flynn ticks, and I know how I tick. It's completely different, yeah? I hear the floorboards creak beneath his feet, the wolf shifting his weight from foot to foot. I just thought you were like me in that sort of way. And for Flynn, this is nothing. This is just another notch on the wall. I cross my arms over my chest tightly, feeling cold sweat on my neck. You showed up for the first time in years, and it's like you don't want nothing to do with me. I get it, I'm good at sports stuff and car stuff, and none of you gave a shit about any of that, and that was fine. Just roll your eyes at Leo. I just liked having my friends around, all of them, but especially you. Another pause. You are like family. How you can't just flick a switch and stop being family, growing up with the shit that we dealt with. Leo, you've got your real family. And you know what they always ask about? You. Well, you've got Flynn and Cole still. You know how Flynn is. And Cole, he's not doing too hot, and I don't know how long he'll last. Long he'll last? The hell are you talking about? I don't know, Otter. Just look at him sometime. Really look at him, and his whole... Leo trails off into a long sigh. You all left, and it was never the same. So I pretend. I remember all the stuff you used to say, even the naggy bits. I imagine that you're with me there at work, talking to me while I'm fixing cars. I pretend I'm teaching you about the basics, like changing oil or replacing headlights. I know it's not riveting stuff, but it's all good, because you love me, and I love you too. And then I drive home, listening to whatever is on the radio, and I imagine you reacting to it, groaning every time the word truck is mentioned in a country song, or making some snide-ass remark at the political ads. When I get home, I go online, and there's this pudding in my chest, like a dread, I click on the social media shit, and it's you, the real you. And you're different. You're wearing new shirts, hanging with new friends, drinking fancy college beers, and it feels like I'm losing you all over again. So I just avoid it. I pretend. I pretend that we're drinking together on the patio as the sun goes down. I pretend that you're watching me play my games. And I pretend at night that pillow I've got my arms wrapped around is you. Making your little noises that you do when I ruffle your head fur or squeeze you. Leo chuckles bittersweetly, the gravity of his words seeming to take hold now that he's actually said them out loud. Jesus, Leo. A week ago, you showed up outside my window. The sky was red. You said hey. Leo, what are you talking about? Why were you there, Chase? His tone is strange, almost without inflection. Leo, I don't know what you mean. I wasn't here last week. Next thing I know, he's stepping closer toward me. He stops, and then lowers himself to a sitting position against the wall. The wolf's arms stretch around my torso and pull me against his side. Okay, so Leo is a little bit off the deep end. While Chase has been away, he's essentially obsessed about him for years, waiting for him to come back. He's imagined, or there's some kind of... We know the place is like Kirsten Hoyt and stuff, so something's appeared outside his window that's kind of set him off all over again in coming after Chase. If we hug, this is probably a problem. I'm just Do nothing. Something's really wrong with Leo. As different as he says I am, something is truly different with him. I keep my paws in my lap. He puts more weight on me, and I have to prop myself up to keep from falling over. He's so heavy now. I hear him clearing his throat. Things aren't great here, Tudor. I was trying to act like they were, but you know now. I just know if you were here, I could protect you, and things would be better. Leo, it might not be true, and I don't need protecting. Leo says nothing. The minutes pass. I can hear TJ talking excitedly about something in the backyard, with Jenna chiming in occasionally. Finally, Leo pulls back. He looks at me, as if about to ask a question, but seemingly decides he doesn't want to know the answer. So, this is pretty something, yeah? I rub my paw against my forehead. Not as pretty something as your fake me pillow you sleep with at night. I expected Leo to laugh at that, but he just peers at me with a sort of melancholy smile. Yeah. He pushes himself to his feet, dusting off the back of his pants. Let me know if you need help with the project or anything. I'll be around. Okay, but hey. His tail perks up some, the wolf turning to look down at me. You should see somebody. I mean, about what you just told me. It never worked for you, Otter. I sigh. Yeah, but it could for you. Leo shrugs. Maybe. I'll see you later. He gives me his best reassuring smile before heading outward, running his paws along the walls as he leaves. After a while, I stand as well. I notice something odd sitting on top of the water heater. Curious, I pick it up. There's still a photo here. Oh, I never knew Mum'd framed this. This is from high school, I think, senior year. She always wanted a picture of the two of us. I always thought it was kind of weird how okay my parents were with us being together. I remember after they found out I was gay, I thought that things would be ruined, and I wouldn't be, I don't know, normal. They sent me a voicemail saying that they loved me and it didn't really matter. Your happiness is priority number one. I wonder if they forgot this during the move. Though, I guess it's kind of a weird picture. I wouldn't be surprised if they left it on purpose. I haven't talked to them much lately. I should go. I step outside. The air is still kinda hazy, and the smell of hot dogs is still pretty palpable. I look over across the yard. TJ and Jenna are still sitting at the table. TJ's munching down on his third helping of cut-up hot dogs, while Jenna sits up top with her feet hanging off the side. It's kind of funny how small she is, like she never grew up past the age of 13. My mind drifts back to the other Fennecs in the smoke room, and they all kind of had that youthful appearance to them. I wonder if that's part of the appeal. I'm surprised you were so comfortable walking around in there. I glance over my shoulder, looking back at the weather-worn house. Huh? Why? The spiders? You're still afraid of them, right? I'd been trying not to think about that the whole time, actually. It felt like there were lots of them in the house, even when I lived in there, and that was with my parents bug-bombing the place every month. I resist the urge to reach down and rub my feet, in case there were any walking around in my fur. Not, like, deathly. I cross my arms over my chest, tugging at the fabric of my shirt. Right, of course. TJ snickers some. Jenna pulls out her phone, beginning to tap away at the digital keypad. By the way, we found something else that might help you with the project. Ah? It's in my purse. Could you grab it? Sure, what is it? Jenna doesn't answer, continuing her texting. TJ, meanwhile, seems to be grinning at his empty ketchup-covered plate. Jenna? I move over to the purse, unbuttoning the main flap. I've always been a bit wary about going through girls' purses for obvious reasons. But the first thing I notice, though, is a piece of folded paper with Chase written in all capital letters on the top. It looks like there's something wedged inside of it as well. Curious, I pull back the top of the paper and feel something fuzzy against my paw pads, and then a bristling sensation. Thin, prodding things tickle the tips of my fingers. I squeeze one and yank it up. Dangling before me is an orange and black tarantula, its limbs bouncing from the sudden pull of force. Jesus fuck! I toss it down to the dirt, it seeming to bounce right back up and land sideways on my foot. I scramble back, kicking at it with as much force as I can muster. Shit. My chest heaves, and I feel like my heart's about to burst from my chest. The tarantula doesn't move, and that's when I realise TJ and Jenna are grinning at me. Jenna has her phone pointed in my direction. Jesus, she's filming this? Language, it's just rubber, Chase. That. I point at the limp, 8-legged thing that's now 3 yards away, stuck in a patch of goat-head brambles. That is not funny. It is, actually. Oh, I'm sorry, Chase. It was Jenna's idea. It was 99 cents at that gas station we stopped at back in Two Canyons. Ah, no wonder you two wouldn't let me see what you bought. Did you guys actually have anything for me? I mean, regarding the project? TJ begins to look even more guilty. Jenna sets her phone down and goes about reclasping her purse. Not really, Chase. As you said, there wasn't much information about the 1877 happening. Most research results directed us towards dubious ghost hunting websites with no source veracity that could be utilised in a formal report. Well, I sigh, stilling my swaying tail and feeling calm once again. Was there anything that could be used by a non-formal report? The Fennec cocks her head, her eyes seeming to look right through me as she thinks, before meeting my gaze once again. What do you want to know more about? The UFO spotted over Echo Canyon by a group of night hikers? The Meseta ghost woman who wanders along the edge of the res, seducing men before impaling them on the branches of the mesquite trees? Or perhaps the Mothman, who is now apparently being seen driving a semi-truck down Route 93 at midnight? Maybe he needed a side job? The economy has been tough lately. I let out an exasperated noise. Okay, I get your point. Although there were lots of mentions of the riots here. That includes the happenings in 1915, as well as some other unsolved stuff about violence after World War II. Just a general perception that we were all a bunch of desert malcontents living in some sort of Sodom and Gomorrah style situation for a century. Sounds about right. We even had a famous brothel that served all the miners in the area. A brothel? I look at TJ, who's frowning acknowledgingly. Does he really not know? It's a place where they make broth and other types of soup. I know what a brothel is. Jenna merely smirks and shakes her head. It was called the smoke room. Wait, what? I tense up and they seem to notice. Chase, something wrong? The smoke room? Yeah, it still exists. I was there last night. Wow, you shouldn't just tell them that. Oh no, you went to a brothel last night. Jenna says this less as a question and more of a deadpan matter of fact. What? No, it's this bar that Flynn goes to. It's right north of the reservation. There's no sign for it or anything, but it's sort of like a gay bar. A gay bar in this county. At least, that's what it seemed like it was. I shrug, trying to phrase this as carefully as I can without going too much into the details. Everything smells like cigarettes, and there's this really shady back room called the smoke room. That's... Jenna presses her knuckle to her lower lip, seemingly in thought. She glances up toward me after a moment. Interesting. With that look, I regret bringing it up already. Jenna seems to be maintaining this sort of intrigued expression. I begin bracing for any follow-up questions. What sort of music did they play there? Surprisingly, TJ's the first to speak. I don't see any sign of judgment on his face either, just genuine curiosity. Oh, it was kind of weird actually. It was a sort of droning, bassy synth stuff. Really? Yeah, never heard anything like it. It's kinda loud. I'm not sure why you're asking though. It's TJ's turn to shrug. I'm just curious. So, you went to a gay bar with Flynn named after an old famous brothel. I exhale, resting my paws on the edge of the table. It's not like that. Like what? Daxton, Carl and I followed him after he left us in the middle of hanging out last night. But he sort of, well, I think he was trying to invite me to go along with him in his own sort of way. He left his phone behind with just one text message on it with the address. I think he wanted to see if I was interested enough to snoop through his phone instead of outright inviting me. It's hard to explain. Oh no, I understand completely. That sounds quite like Flynn. Very non-committal and giving himself something that he can hold against you if need be to protect himself from having any semblance of vulnerability. Jenna rubs the bridge of her small nose, still seemingly frustrated with Flynn's behaviour. She reaches down, picking up a paper plate from beside her and shoving it in a plastic bag. I'm ready to head back to the motel. Chase, you coming? Oh, sure. TJ begins cleaning up as well, moving to drag the picnic table back into the appropriate yard, I help. So did Leo just walk away? Is that what he did? I sit cross-legged, on the edge of the bed with a notebook in my lap. I'm sort of half planning out my script and half kicking myself for not doing a lot of this preliminary stuff earlier. I'm also kicking myself for not getting any scans of the photos and documents I found at City Hall. The B-roll I've got doesn't quite cut it. Having actual historical papers with pictures of Echo inhabitants that aren't available online might look good on my portfolio. At least, that's what Jenna said. I kinda doubt they're open on Saturday, so I'd have to talk to Flynn. And Flynn still wants me to assist him with his whole interrogation that he's got planned. Or at least stay out of his way. For now, I just want to focus on my project. Currently, Jenna's tapping away on her laptop on her side of the bedroom, although she seems more distracted than she was at the beginning of the trip. TJ has the TV on to some behind the album rock music history show that he's pretty engrossed in from the looks of it. He lays beside me, his back propped up by pillows. After a few more scribblings for my outro, I toss aside my notebook and slink on over to the other side of the room. I'll take a few packets of the candy egg oatmeal that we'd gotten about 20 of and empty them into one of the complimentary styrofoam bowls on the table. I know it's for kids, but I've always kinda liked this stuff. I'm a sucker for anything that's bland as hell with a tiny bit of sweet add-ins, like oat bran cereal with dehydrated marshmallow bits. I fill the bowl with water, about a centimetre higher than the top of the oatmeal. A little bit of maple cinnamon dust rises up from the mixture. Hopefully this pack isn't too old. I didn't check the expiration date before grabbing it from my dorm room. I bring the mixture to the microwave and set it for 1 minute. On the TV, some raccoon is talking about how their music videos went viral back in 2006 and how the fame went to his bandmate's head. It's weird to think that 2006 was nearly 10 years ago at this point. It was more than 10 years. I remember watching shows like this with my mum as a kid, and they were always about hair metal bands from the 80s and 90s. Each episode was full of grainy old pack film photographs of the alleged happier days of the Focus superstar. It has me thinking about how much stuff like that there is from my childhood. There's nearly a gigabyte of videos on my old laptop, ranging from Hove movies, machinima to class projects I did with the group. Plus all my social media posts are still there. It's not like those days with faded memories on a sepia tinted photo roll picture. They're right there, in full 1024 to 768 aspect ratio, a few clicks away. That is not even full high def, mate. Maybe that's why I don't think about Echo with as much nostalgia as someone like TJ or, well, Leo for sure. Speaking of, I checked my phone a little while ago. He hasn't texted me. Oh, the microwave beeps and I take the oatmeal out. The directions say to leave it in for 2 to 2.5 minutes, but that always seems like overkill. I like it a bit soupy. I'm gonna take a shower. Do you guys want anything? I blink. What? TJ stares blankly at us. Do we want anything from the shower? Jenna, after a couple of seconds, looks up from her laptop at the links. TJ? He looks as if he's just come to some kind of realization, and then quickly covers his face with his paw. Oh, I mean, forget the second part. I shift awkwardly, bowl of oatmeal in paw. I didn't get much sleep last night. Jenna sighs. It's okay. Neither did I. I didn't wake you guys when I got in, did I? I hope to hell they didn't see me slink in with a cum-covered shirt, that's for sure. Oh my god. Jenna gives me a sidelong look that I can't quite describe, and that makes me even more worried. No. Oh. We were already pretty much awake. Ah, shit. That man shouting in the parking lot was making me uneasy. I didn't hear any of that. Jenna lowers the top of her laptop some, though not closing it all the way. It started a little bit before midnight. You hadn't arrived yet. It sounded like he was walking all around the motel, even screamed at our window. Was he yelling anything specific? No, he's just shouting. I heard a few words here and there, but never like any full sentences or anything. He just sounded really, really mad. Or sad. TJ pauses, looking at the bowl I'm holding. Or scared, I don't know. A part of me kinda wanted to call Leo. I can't help but smile a little at that. Really? Wow. I didn't actually. Leo the Protector? I can't believe, after all this time, TJ still sees Leo that way. I called the police. They said they sent a patrol car, but I never saw one show up. He eventually just left, a little before you showed up actually. It feels like everyone's on drugs in this town now. Now? Jenna retorts, looking at me with a raised brow. Well, I mean, it wasn't always this strange, was it? Even back growing up, I'd still wager that at least a third of the population was on heroin or worse. It comes with the territory. But I will say, I do somewhat agree with you. Echo depopulated by around 100 people since I was born. That in itself is the other 2/3 of the population. Wow, that is really small. Those that remained didn't have the same level of general township community that we once had, what little that it was. TJ nods, rubbing at his wrists and looking toward the drape-covered window facing the parking lot. I remember when we used to have our own grocery store. Oh, speaking of, we ate at the diner after the hike yesterday. Julian works there as a busboy. You remember him, right? I think, was he the green reptile kid who peed himself in AP Lit? TJ looks a little aghast. What? No. Then, no, I don't know him. That was Cody. Wait, the Cody you dated? Jenna makes a slightly disgusted noise, shaking her head. You're thinking of upstate Cody. I never got to meet him. Yes, well. Jenna lets out a little puff of air, pushing up her laptop screen again and typing something. Neither did I. She stops for a moment, turning to look at me. Can I have some of that? My oatmeal? Oh, sure. I hand her the still warm styrofoam bowl with a spoon. Damn, I wanted that. And of course she's digging out all the sugar dinosaur eggs first. So, right, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Julie was telling us that the diner is probably going to end up closing down at the end of the year. Maybe next, if they're lucky. That's like the last business in town besides the motel. The last legitimate business, you mean? I see Jenna nod before taking another bite of my oatmeal. It's no wonder then that people act weird. Even Leo, Cole, and definitely Flynn are different. Did you guys see Janice again after what happened on the road? TJ nods uneasily, the Lynx beginning to busy himself, gathering up a fresh set of clothes. I asked her if she was okay or needed any help, and she said she was fine, great even. But she looked really bad. TJ picks up some red pyjama pants that have faded little Christmas ornament symbols stitched in around the bottoms and pine tree decals on the waist. He also, a bit more discreetly, grabs a pair of bright red underwear and quickly hides them in the folds of his pants. I wonder if he's matching the two intentionally. And I don't mean like ugly, I mean she was kinda grimy and smelled like raw meat. She was definitely on something, TJ. I hope not. TJ turns, shuffling himself into the bathroom. The door shuts. You know, Jenna sits up some. I think it was Clint. Jenna is speaking to me, but her eyes are on her laptop. What? The man outside. The one that was screaming? At first, I thought he had Jeremy with him, and God, just the thought of that makes me want to get out of town and not look back. I don't blame you, but Clint? Judging from popular television growing up, it seems like everyone alive had had a childhood bully, some with multiple. We had Clint and his little gang of arseholes, Jeremy, Micah, hell, even Heather sometimes. The thing is, in a town of 50 people, escaping your bullies is near impossible. They're everywhere, they hate you, they hurt you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, until Leo did something about it. I still remember the squelching noises Clint made as Leo hit him, over and over again outside his own trailer. Leo didn't speak any English, and they were all a couple of years older than us, but it didn't stop him. I don't know how things would have turned out if he never moved here. The voice, it had a certain cadence to it that reminded me of him. I resign myself to the notion that Jenna has eaten all of my oatmeal at this point. Moving over to the microwave, I grab another styrofoam bowl and a couple more packets. I can already tell there's not going to be enough left to really be satisfying. I'm assuming you haven't gone to see Jeremy and the rest of the family either then? No, and I doubt I will. By the way, how are you doing? I look over my shoulder. She seems to be deciding on a font for whatever she's typing away at. Catching my glance, she meets my gaze for just a moment. And I don't just mean in general. Any sleep issues? And of course, she changes the topic just like that. Sleep issues. She calls them that for my sake. I pour some water on the oatmeal. No paralysis, just sort of strange, really lucid dreams. I think my subconscious wants me to shave off my goatee. This might be the one time you should listen to the voices in your head. I make a growling noise that comes out a lot less intimidating than I'd intended. Jenna doesn't look up. What are the dreams like? I let out a long exhale, placing the oatmeal in the microwave. I don't know. I just think I'm tired, and it's mixing badly with my current mental state. I've been kind of crawling in my skin since I got here. I saw a face behind someone's shoulder that wasn't really there last night. It wasn't something I thought about much at the time. I was already upset, but the more I dwell on it, I don't know. I shrug, waving dismissively as I take my bowl. When I look at Jenna again, I can see the fur on her neck has lifted a little. It was probably just the angle though. You alright? Jenna looks back at me, and I can tell she's debating whether or not to tell me something. I wait. Just made me think about when I was a kid. Hadn't thought about it for years actually. I pause. Do you want to talk about it? I'm worried I'm about to open up a can of worms. It wasn't traumatizing or anything like that. Well, it was actually, but it wasn't real. Did you see her face? Yeah, it was a reddish colour, flat too. Whoa. Yeah, it had a body as well, but I can't really remember exactly what it was like. Did you dream it? No, not really a dream. At least not in the sense that I was asleep when it happened. I just see it walking around in broad daylight sometimes. The hell? Are these like real solid memories? Like it really happened? I don't know. It usually happened when I was sad or angry, like when Dad was having one of his, moments. You mentioning that you saw something while you were upset reminded me of it. I just see it walk past the doorway, or sit in a closet. Really? What the fuck? This is a long time ago, like when I was 5. I don't want you to think I'm crazy, Chase. I don't. I saw things too as a kid. I mean, more things. Yeah, I think you've told me. I had, and it's something I really don't want to think about right now. I'm pretty sure it's just something my mind made up because I was under a lot of stress. The brain can make up whatever it wants, really. It's part of the reason I went into the field that I did. I want to help figure these things out. Do you see it anymore, at all? She's quiet for a while and shakes her head. No. Okay. End of Friday. And we're going to move on to Saturday in the next episode. This is Usho signing off. And hopefully I will see you next time.